Yo, hey y'all. You already know what time it is. I wanted to come on here and do a video. I don't know who this is for, but maybe you are one who continue to go through the repeated cycles of life and you find yourself going through the same things, right? It's like a vicious cycle that just will never end. And every time you look up, you're like, why am I going through the same thing? Why am I experiencing this? Why am I experiencing that? I've been through this before, and it becomes second nature to you that you allow yourself to go through certain things. At some point in our lives, we have to take a step back and evaluate, take a look at our situations or the things that we have gone through, right? And ask ourselves some serious questions. Why am I constantly repeating the same cycle? It's just like going through a washer, right? You know that when you're washing your clothes, it goes through a cycle that washes your clothes. And sometimes, if you don't have the right products, right, or you just don't have a good washer, sometimes, right, that cycle leaves your clothes or whatever it is that you're washing somewhat dirty. And with that cycle, right, we find ourselves having to redo the washing of those clothes or whatever it is that we're washing, right? We find ourselves having to rewash. And then again, it goes through the same cycle, right? That if we choose to leave it on it. It's the same thing with life. Life is a cycle, right? What we have gone through, we make the choice and the decision to set boundaries, right? And understand what it is that we are willing to take or sacrifice and what it is that we're not willing to take and sacrifice. And I use myself as a prime example. Um, I've been through relationships, not many, but I'll talk about a relationship that I went through. And there comes a point in time where you realize that I would never take myself through this again. There comes, and I say this because for me, and I'm speaking for me, life is always a school for me, right? Everything that I've gone through are always, and I kid you not, I try to take something out of what it is, whether it's good or bad, and I try to find something out of it. What I mean by I try to look at what did I learn from this? Was it a teachable moment? Was it anything for me to learn? And so I'm using myself as an example because when you've been through um, trauma, when you've gone through life, and life is life, and you trying to figure it out, right? When you are that person and you're going through these things, you start to set boundaries in your life. And if you are not careful with setting boundaries, what'll happen is you'll find yourself again repeating the same cycles over and over and over and over again. And by the time it's all said and done, you're the one that's burned out. You're the one that's sad. You're the one that's depressed, while the other person that's in your life or the thing that's occurring in your life is just going through life, right? And so I'm saying this because I've gone through a relationship that in the beginning it appeared healthy, right? It appeared good. It felt good, right? And if you think about it, in my last video, I talked about how people will meet you where you need them to or need to be met in your time of need because it's something that you are seeking. So a lot of times we move and we operate off of our feelings and our emotions, and if we're not careful, those feelings and those emotions will lead us down the wrong path. What am I saying? Be careful with allowing yourself to continue to repeat the same cycle. Because what will happen is that cycle becomes vicious, right? And then you look up and you like, wait a minute. I've been down this road before. I felt this before. I experienced this before. And what we have to learn to do is set boundaries. And I'm saying this because I had to learn to set boundaries because of what I have gone through in my previous relationship, right? This is not to put nobody on blast, right? Because I'm not about that. I'm a woman before I'm anything. But what I'm saying is, because of the relationship that I went through, I made the choice and the decision that I will never allow myself to go through that cycle again. And if it looks like anything like what I've been through, that to me says that that relationship is not for me. And so I made the conscious decision to set boundaries in my life. I will not argue with nobody. I will not allow nobody to disrupt my peace because I am responsible for protecting my peace. And I'm saying this to somebody. You, yes, you. I am talking to you who is listening to this video, who's looking at me, who maybe just, you ain't even listening. Looking, you just listening. I'm talking to you. You have to learn to set boundaries. And when I went to church last week, the pastor said, you got to love on yourself. You got to love yourself enough. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I love me. And because I love me, I refuse to allow anybody to mistreat me or mishandle me because I'm a gem. I am precious. And I understand that I unique and I'm wonderfully made. And I have something to give somebody else. But while I'm in the moment of giving, I got to understand that I'm precious. So what that says is what I've been through, I won't accept. What I've experienced for the bad, I won't accept. And if you bring in any turmoil to my life, if you think that you're going to disrupt my peace, I'm at the point, I ain't got to live with it. I ain't got to deal with it. Because you know why? I love me. And I'm saying this to somebody. When it's all said and done, you have the power and the authority to stop things in its track and to not allow anyone or anything to disrupt your peace. You in charge of you, along with God, but you are in charge of your peace. You're in charge of the way somebody loves you. You're in charge of how somebody loves you. You are in charge of if that person is contributing to your life or they're taking away from your life. You make the choice and you make the decision. What am I saying? Life is about learning. And if you're going through some cycles in your life that was unhealthy, that is not generating peace, that is not contributing to your life, that is not adding substance to your life, you know what that says to me? you need to take a step back and reevaluate some things and ask yourself, is this healthy for me? Is this ideal for me? Because if it's not, you don't settle. And I learned that I'm not settling for less. I'm not allowing myself to allow nobody to disrupt my peace, to not love me the way that I deserve to be loved, to not treat me the way I know I deserve to be treated. You know why? Because I am adding to that next person's life. And if they can't add to my life and they're constantly taken away, then you don't deserve to be in my life. And I'm saying this to somebody who's watching. You have to make a choice and a decision on what you are going to allow people to do to you and how they're going to operate in your life. Be encouraged. Love yourself enough. Because if you ain't loving you enough, guess what? The person that you allow to love you is not going to love you the way that you need to be loved, because you only are loving yourself partially when you need to love yourself wholeheartedly. And when a person sees that you love yourself, then guess what? That gives them room to truly love on you as well. So until we meet in the next video, you be encouraged, my sister or my brother. And you go through the cycle. But at some point, you're going to have to learn to set a boundary and say enough is enough. I love me. Bye.